Night has fallen and Franco TV is re-exploring this potentially haunted cemetery in Florida for signs of the paranormal. He doesn't even get through the front door before his flashlight mysteriously stops working, which is exactly what happened when he's come here before, so I think it's probably real.
My mag light is not working.
It isn't long before he's hearing scary noises and seeing strange shadows that do not belong to him. Eventually, he adds a second night vision camera that he hopes to catch a ghost with. After hearing more creepy noises coming from all over, he focuses across the cemetery and finally captures something weird on camera.
I literally just heard a noise down here. What the Holy.
In a dark room appears to be a ghostly figure, a woman in a chair with her back turned. The possible apparition does not say anything or react to the light being shined directly on her, which is beyond creepy. By the time he reaches the dark room, it's empty once again. No objects have been moved and the chair is still facing the same direction, like no one was ever there to begin with. Yet Franco is not convinced that he is alone, and rightfully so.
I keep freaking hearing stuff out here.
The ghost and the ghost hunter continue to play a game of haunted hide and seek until Franco has one last ghost sighting while walking around the perimeter of the cemetery.
Hello? Ma'am? Do you need help? Do you need help?
She doesn't say a word at him, but this time she does look over twice and then back at a marker, possibly her own. When she turns to him, you can just barely see the outline of a scary face. It almost looks like she has empty hollow sockets for eyes.
Yeah. Not doing that.
Now here's what I don't understand. Franco finally gets what could be a real ghost sighting on camera, and all he has to do is walk a few meters to get one of the clearest videos of a ghost up close. He could finally be the ghost hunter who proves once and for all that paranormal spirits are real, and yet he just walks away in the opposite direction. I guess he must have been really creeped out to turn down this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to prove that ghost sightings are real. Or maybe this was somebody pretending to be a ghost. Tell me which one you think it was. A YouTuber in India named Ankor Kashyap Vlogs claims to have filmed real paranormal evidence. A spooky ghost caught on tape while driving around late at night. A person on a bike is up ahead. They pull up to him and what happens next is terrifying. The narrow, unlit bridge must have claimed a life or two, because the man on the bike is suddenly no more, as in gone, vanished. He expects to pass him by, but goes through him instead. Tell me if you can see any jump cuts where he paused the camera to make it look like the man disappeared. It seems like one continuous shot, and if so, then that's just plain creepy. Is something living in this underground train station? Posted on the r/ghosts subreddit by Ben Taylor. The scary video shows the behind-the-scenes nature of the underground at Crewe Station in the UK. As the redditor and his friend walk through the station, mysterious haunting noises echo through the underground, like a creature is roaring or wailing, like an animal. The roaring repeats over and over. The boys walk through a fenced-in area, and the sound gets louder, but its source isn't any more apparent.
It stopped. Do you not hear it stop?
Yeah.
The sound repeats and then changes a little, causing the cameraman to turn around and hightail it out of there. It stops for a moment, but then continues again as they decide to retreat.
Come on, get out. I'm going because we've got to do tricks anyway.
The Redditor writes, the area was checked for dogs, animals, and even an injured security guard by transport police, as the noise was causing the staff to stay away from the area. No dogs, no humans, no pipes were there for the dog to stick its nose in. A howl down, and security informed us nothing was found the next day, but the noise returned the next night. One Redditor in the comments, Nululus, says it might be a small deer species that's an invasive breed in the UK called the muntjac deer. Others still think it's an injured dog or a piece of machinery, but the Redditor seems to lean toward the paranormal, as he says other employees have heard strange noises and seen unexplained objects moving. We could make theories all day, but it's only the Redditor and his co-workers who witnessed it in person. So if they're saying it's paranormal, I think that explanation makes the most sense to me. This miniature forest figure has viewers puzzled. Posted on TikTok by Satpam Horror, a small Barbie-sized creature was captured walking at the edge of the forest. Watch closely.
Ada tuyul bah. Gila.
The figure looks just like a human in miniature. What is it though? I'm not sure what this humanoid creature could be, but its movements do not look animated, and it seems to blend well with the setting. Any ideas? Leave them in the comment. This home in Villisca, Iowa is where an axe-wielding maniac once took the lives of an entire family and 2 guests. Whoever did it was never brought to justice, and now, more than 100 years later, the restless spirits of those left behind have yet to find peace. A YouTuber named Lighthouse Music senses the spirit of children hiding in the closet and starts recording. She speaks in a nice tone and offers candy. Nothing happens for some time until... Then, as if further proof was needed, the spirit appears to follow some other basic commands.
Just a little bit further, or can you close it?
They even ask the child to open the door wider than before as a test, and it timidly seems to obey. But the part that really has me convinced is at the very end.
Just in case that was you, I'm going to do as promised. I'm going to leave you some candy. I'm going to leave it right here, over here on this chair for you, okay? Well, thank you.
Notice how the door shuts harder than any other time in the video as soon as the spirit gets what it wants. Maybe it could be a draft from a nearby window opening and closing the door, but this definitely seems like childlike behavior to me. This is some serious EMF gone wrong. Published by Dark Life in March of 2022, Dennis held an EMF session in the basement of this old house in which girls are said to have gone missing. After spending some time in the basement, he hears something in the wardrobe. As he reaches toward it, the wardrobe starts to rock aggressively. Dennis runs from it, and in doing so appears to hurt his leg amongst all the rubbish in the basement. He looks back for a moment but decides it's best to leave the house. And after seeing this shell of a haunted home, wouldn't you? This old VHS tape of a girl dancing is definitely paranormal, at least if you believe what the uploader Sharon Bailey has to say. First, an orb floats up towards the child between the 13 and 14 second mark. Shortly afterwards, a strange mist fills the air. Maybe it's something else, but I'm not sure because it seems to specifically wrap itself around the child. The last part is what has Sharon convinced that this is paranormal. She says that there were no other children in the house, but 31 seconds into the video, another little girl runs by at full speed. Her footsteps don't make a single sound. Take a listen. The camera was picking up little coughs and other background noise, so it definitely should have recorded running footsteps. Also, neither the dancing girl nor the dog seem to notice anyone is running straight towards them. I thought all of the scary Alexa videos had been sorted out by Amazon, but according to a TikToker named the Jackie Cole, they've only just begun. She must want to see if Alexa still does that creepy laugh because she asks it to repeat her own monotone laughter.
Alexa, Simon says ha 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 ha.
Alexa repeats the words back in a small voice that quickly becomes breathy and scary with gasping noises and a strange sentence at the end that kind of sounds like I am at the end. Let me know what you think it says.
Ha 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 ha.
I have never heard a machine sound like this before, and I hope I never will for the rest of my life. If you happen to have an Alexa, I wouldn't recommend trying this out unless you want to hear a similarly scary reply. A TikTok user named Caesar in MP is piloting a plane when he sees an oddly terrifying unknown flying object skimming the clouds. Just below, the tiny circular object appears to have no propellers and emits no exhaust. It looks like it's moving extremely fast, but keep in mind Caesar is passing it in his own aircraft, so its exact speed is unknown. A regular civilian drone could not move at this rate of speed, and its design looks more complex than a regular drone. So what do you think? Secret project? Or something from someplace much farther away than Earth? This footage was supposedly taken by a 911 caller, and later edited to include his actual 911 call. The caller starts out by saying he's hearing some strange noises in his basement.
Yeah, I think there's somebody in my house right now. We're going to dispatch an officer right now. Can you tell me what happened? What happened was I was hearing some strange noises coming from my basement. Okay. I decided to go down there and see what it was, and I think I saw someone standing in the corner over there. Okay.
And this ghostly basement sighting is what supposedly caused him to make the call. Look closely, and you will see that this does appear to be a shadowy figure from another time period. I personally see someone from the Victorian age, perhaps a woman with a large dress and oversized hat. He runs upstairs and makes the call after seeing her. Then again, if this video was real, then I don't know how he would have gotten a copy of his own 911 call. I could be wrong, but I think those are private records and generally unobtainable. There are also sound effects that are obviously put over the video once he sees the ghost, so maybe this is just a prank after all. It could be computer effects or even a mannequin. A man is videotaping an abandoned home from above when he catches what could be something paranormal as it dashes away. A misty black cloud snakes along the wall and trails off into the abandoned house, veering out of sight. The cameraman zooms in for a better look but finds nothing. I think this appears to be CGI, but the way the cameraman behaves makes me think that it could be real. He stays focused on the spot for a little bit, then draws back and studies the entire area for more activity. He doesn't immediately stop recording like most videos. A paranormal YouTube channel called Northwest Ghost Adventures claims his haunted attic has the most ghost activity out of anywhere in the UK. Here are two of the best examples of paranormal evidence. On February of 2018, the Northwest Ghost Adventures channel made a breakthrough EVP session with a possessed doll named Lily. 3 times in a row, the same male voice speaks through the spirit box.
Hi, spirits. Yeah, I'm okay. Can you tell me the name of this doll? My name's Lily.
I think it even starts talking backwards here, which is something I've never heard a spirit box even do before, and also possibly evidence of a demonic ghost EVP caught on camera. The ghost hunter administers some more paranormal experiments, and Lily the possessed doll passes them all.
Can you show us an orb, please? Thank you. Can you show me your orbs?
A month later, he claims to have been possessed while investigating. He spends the night in his haunted attic, and his eyes open when the spirit box says awake.
Awake.
He looks around in a trance-like state for some time. Notice how the ghost meter stays maxed out for over a full minute, beginning at 1 minute and 7 seconds, and continuing until the moment his head hits the pillow at 2 minutes and 26 seconds, at which point the lights go out entirely. As if the demon has left. Was I possessed, he later asks, and I think most of us will agree that yes, he was. This footage, published by Paranormal World in August of 2019, shows a scenic mountain and forest opposite an overpass. After completing a full 360 to take it all in, the camera falls to the cars whizzing past below before returning to the mountain. This time, the mountain isn't the only thing carving out the sky. A Godzilla-like creature peeks out from behind the mountain. At first, one might mistake it for the mountain itself, but it slowly begins to move, voiding that theory. While many in the comments say this is a good edit, some are more concerned by the man's reaction. YouTuber Dap writes, "If there is a Godzilla, you are running, not chewing gum." That's probably true, although other people note that the creature is friendly, so perhaps the cameraman had no need to fear him. Still, seeing a creature the size of a mountain would probably get your heart pumping, friendly or not. Full respect goes to YouTuber Rex Travolta for somehow obtaining this cry-out-loud creepy CCTV footage of a haunted driving school in Puchong. A man goes into the building late at night to wait for his girlfriend for a late-night meetup. Little does he know tonight's date is about to get cancelled for paranormal reasons. The computer monitor somehow turns on at the same time, and when he checks the wiring underneath, the screens briefly flash in unison. He runs out of there scared out of his mind, and that's when a ghost decides its work is done as it shuts the door and pulls up a chair. The video looks paranormal at first, but I think it could be really good stop motion photography that you don't notice because the camera's been skipping frames the whole time. And as for the monitors, maybe the computers were already on and had some kind of screensaver on a timer to make it look like they went on at once. A strange smear of a man floats across the sidewalk and materializes into a person. Their lower half is missing and then they disappear. One of the weirdest things caught on camera is how the apparent ghost checks its phone when it first appears. Either this is a strange camera glitch, or else I guess we still keep our phones in the afterlife. A YouTuber named Blake M thinks he accidentally recorded a strange message while filming himself on the side of the road. Listen carefully and see if you can hear it for yourself. The message is very brief, so if you didn't hear it, then turn up your volume and listen to this version with subtitles. Right around when Blake smooths over his hair, you can hear a distant voice suddenly say, "Help me," in an urgent tone. It's possible that he edited in this voice later, or maybe it was someone yelling from a passing car, but if not, then this could be evidence of someone asking for help from the afterlife. The story of Sally in the Wood goes something like this. Located outside Bath in Somerset, there's a road that passes into the woodland of Brown's Folly, which locals refuse to drive down after dark due to the terrifying legend surrounding it, known by locals as Sally in the Wood. It is said that no birds can be heard chirping through this stretch of the forest, as a girl has her life taken there and now haunts the place. Some say they've heard a screaming child in the dark forest, and some have seen a full-bodied apparition of a girl racing into the road at night. The legends are all over the place about Sally in the Woods. According to some, Sally was an 18th century gypsy girl who was held captive in a tower, where she perished. The website Wiltshire Paranormal claims that this story is entirely fictional and that the name Sally in the Woods more likely came from a battle that occurred at Brown's Folly in 1643. as Sally is slang for skirmish. This could very well be true. However, the Baffled Society claims that Sally was an actual person, but not the only one who passed away in a tower. This legend claims that Sally was a witch living in a hut in the woods. Local records put Sally's passing at the age of 100, although that wouldn't really explain her appearance as a young girl ghost, unless Sally the witch had the ability to appear youthful. Regardless of what you choose to believe, the generational legend of Sally in the Woods lives on, and the resulting fear can be felt throughout this video, published to YouTube by the Abandoned Prepper in March of 2020, examining various parts of the house up close. The Abandoned Prepper wanders through this haunted place solo. Some parts of the house appear deeply aged, while others recall the more recent past. There's an old piano, a strange lock on the door, and an old photo box in the basement that appears as though they're from another century, but other parts of the home look as though they're from the 60s or 70s. Prepper says that he can hear water running and regularly hears strange noises. Shortly after entering, there is a definite sound of glasses clinking about upstairs while he is downstairs.
My days, this is massive. I'm getting a bit scared now. Hello?
Prepper calls out to alert anyone else exploring the house to his presence. He also said the house has recently become a hotspot for urban explorers. He returns to the first floor and then upstairs to the second. He keeps hearing strange noises throughout. Birds are chirping and the sound of running water.
What? Someone's flooding the basement.
He compares the house to Amityville and says it definitely gives him bad vibes. While he explores the adjacent house, at one point he enters a room. Notice there's no blue ball here. He heads upstairs and there's a loud sound of something wooden slamming or falling down. When he returns to that same room later, there's a blue ball in the middle of it. The call is coming from inside the house. He also finally discovers where the sound of running water was coming from. The basement of the house is being flooded. There's a hose passing down there, so it looks like it was done intentionally. As he's getting ready to head out of the home, he turns the corner to descend the stairs. That's when you hear the strike of a piano key.
Off. Hello?
While at the same time the hallway light bulb is swinging back and forth, he races down to catch whoever struck the cord, but there's no one. Finally outside, he turns back to look at the dark shell of a house. You can literally feel the creepiness shed away from you. While visiting Old Smoky Mountain Cemetery, YouTube crew the G-Team Paranormal are quickly met with paranormal activity. Straight away they get a reading on their paranormal device.
Right there. Wow. This is incredible.
And that reading becomes more distinct.
Look.
Yep.
Oh, I see them.
Mm-hmm.
You see them?
I see them. Almost looks like a third person.
The spirits seem to be congregating next to their headstones.
Someone's standing next to the headstone.
Right next to the headstone, yes.
Leaning on it or something.
Although the camera doesn't pick it up clearly, the ladies hear footsteps approaching.
She hears footsteps crunching. I hope it ain't a bear coming. Oh, I did.
Then, while in their vehicle, the car's reverse sensor is triggered, but there's no one behind them.
What?
What the heck?
I don't know. What is going on? It's sensing something behind us.
What the hell?
I don't know.
There's a mysterious whisper in the darkness here, though. And before they know it, they've picked up a hitchhiking spirit.
Made me want to come here. Oh, why did all my just fall? My up here on my visor just kind of flew down. What the hell?
Patty even seems to spot one on the road.
Oh, Whoa, I'm not even gonna back up. There was somebody standing back there in a white shirt. I'm not even kidding you. Unless I'm not gonna back up, guys. I can't.
I didn't see anything, but something strange is definitely going on here. Whether a spirit has attached or not is anyone's guess. These flats are supposed to be abandoned, so who is in this window? Posted to TikTok by Scared to Death Zero, this crew is looking around an abandoned encampment at night when they see movement in one of the upper windows. Zooming in, there's no one there, but then they move their flashlight from the window, and the figure again peeks out from behind a curtain. Many in the comments are completely freaked out, while some think it's a squatter, others are not so sure. They say it has no face. What is this thing? Would you try to find out? It's late at night when a YouTuber named Single Aphel hears something just outside of his home. His curiosity outweighs his fear, and so he takes a camera outside with him to try and find the source. At least one person is sure this is a demon, but a lot of people are saying it's just a fox. Let me know what you hear. This video was taken in December, which does fall in line with the fox mating season. Still, it's kind of strange that the person living here claims to have never heard this before and doesn't know what it is. Here's another clip to help you analyze the source with me.
What is that noise?
Was this a fox or something much worse? Like the rake. A fire erupted at St. Anthony's School in Octonal Falls, Wisconsin on February 21st, 2012, damaging the interior beyond recognition. At the time, the school had 42 students. Portions of the exterior of the 55-year-old school were visibly damaged, while a layer of soot and ash coated the attached St. Anthony Church. Father Joel Sember said that the parish was taking the fire very personally. In his words, this is part of their family, it's part of their community, and so they are taking this as if it happened to their home. While the fire was certainly devastating, the school was empty at the time, so at least no one was harmed. Father Sember noted that the fire could have been far more destructive had the fire department not been so efficient. The fire is believed to have been intentional, although it's unclear if they ever found the culprit. You are probably asking yourself what could possibly be scary about ice. Well, it's not so much about ice itself, but rather what's growing around the area that forms the cubes and pushes them out. A thick layer of yellow filth has taken over this restaurant ice machine, which is somehow still in service and making ice for customers. I'm not even sure what this specific part of the machine is used for, but I know I regret watching it. The yellow substance has crusted into black mold along the corners. Again, I honestly can't believe this video was recorded in a restaurant that was still open. And that's just what this ice machine looks like on the outside. What's growing inside is even worse. Take a look at this and tell me if you would want this floating anywhere near your cold drink. You'd think the cubes would be absolutely disgusting and easy to spot, but look at this ice. You'd never realize there was much of a problem, or where it really came from. Michael is in the middle of making a rather innocent YouTube video when something from another world crosses over directly behind him.
With fishing and we also
Michael immediately gets up to inspect the toy set, and you can clearly see that there was no string attached. A string would show up easily against the dark wood of this table, and there's also a Coca-Cola can directly in the path of where a string would theoretically have to be. In fact, watch again and you'll clearly see that Michael moves directly in front of the toy and would have totally gotten in the way of a string. The blocks themselves look to be positioned relatively secure at the bottom of a wire band, but I guess they could have somehow fallen on their own. This video was taken during service at a chapel in the Mexican city of Saltillo in June of 2016. They zoom in on the statue on the wall that just, well, opens its eyes and looks at them. My first thought was that the camera coming into focus is probably what makes it look like it's opening its eyes. If not, this could also somehow be a trick of the light. But then again, this still image taken at 1 minute and 4 seconds shows the eyes are totally closed. This image at 1 minute and 10 seconds is taken at roughly the same distance and shows the eyes are definitely now open. So my other guess is computer effects. This CCTV footage shows a young woman hurrying down a flight of steps, only to find something waiting for her at the bottom of the stairwell. The shadowy figure turns towards her, and if you look closely, you can almost make out the circular white outline of a face. She bolts away and the apparition quickly pursues. If this video is real, then nobody knows what happened next, or if she even survived. On 3830 McMahon Road sits a lone white house which at first glance looks rather unassuming, but is actually a source of otherworldly evil, a place so foul that not even 2 separate exorcisms could fully cleanse its walls. Over 800 Native Americans are said to have lost their lives in the surrounding hills against federal forces, many of whom are thought to be buried under the Hinsdale house, fueling its foundations with anger. And that's just the beginning. Sometime in the 1800s, 2 outlaw brothers used this New York property as their sick trophy room. They would go after stagecoaches and left behind no witnesses. The bodies were mostly kept in the attic or left in the basement without a care. Outside, more lives were taken over the years at a pond and also at an old tree at just the right height for a rope, which was later struck by lightning. Nowadays, the heavily haunted Hinsdale house has become a location for ghost hunters like John and Amanda of Elevated Vlogs to explore whatever secrets lie within. John and Amanda are amateur ghost hunters without much paranormal experience, so their reactions are about as raw as it gets. Their night begins with a tour from the house's current owner, a man named Daniel Clays, who spared this house from getting demolished in 2015. He seems to have formed a truce with the spirits in return for saving them. The way he talks about his experiences, the more activity their camera catches around him.
There's definitely something that's sinister, maybe darker, that comes out once in a while. But your best thing is to just ignore it and move on and go do something else. We were just standing in the kitchen and we had a camera on ourselves and they were talking about the exorcism this, exorcism that. And
Daniel leaves them to explore the house on their own.
And just kind of do a little explore before we sit down anywhere. And
did you hear that?
They also hear this noise, the sound someone makes with a hand over their mouth.
But he said he has experienced somewhat of something dark here. Experience.
They enter the room of Mary Dandy, the youngest daughter of a family who lived here during the 1970s, and find bugs on their backs, legs up. An odd characteristic that the room has become known for. An entity has attached itself here, something foul enough to attract flies and send them lifelessly to the floor without its presence. Or maybe these flies were placed here by Daniel to fool John and Amanda. Either way, the activity only seems to increase ever since standing in Mary's room. I think something runs ahead of them down the stairs into the basement. Maybe the final steps of someone trying to get away during a terrible event.
Most people that check this place out will come with a team.
Oh yeah, I'll go down first so you can show them this really cool... Did you hear that?
What was that?
And when they try to communicate with it, a scared little girl's voice comes across the airwaves.
Are you okay with us staying here tonight?
They decide to head back into Mary's room. Again, their spirit box picks up the same crying girl as before.
Are you okay with us being in this room? Can we sit here?
And this is the 3rd time they pick up her voice. Definitely the same girl the whole time.
Are we safe?
She's following them from room to room, and maybe behind her is the sinister force that Daniel warned them to stay away from. They decided to check out the attic before they get too scared. Remember what I said about the attic earlier? Sure enough, John feels a strong hand wrap his arm to pull him forward, followed by a supernatural confirmation from a gruff male voice.
Dude, I'm not even playing, man.
Did someone touch John's arm?
Like, no lie, it felt like there was just something
Dude, that sounded like, yeah.
They flee downstairs to regroup and find they can no longer leave. Something's outside.
John.
Oh my god.
I literally heard something outside. I'm not even messing around.
Dude.
You hear that, dude?
No, I know. It sounded like metal tinging.
I don't hear it, but I do see it. Look again, it's a ghost caught on live stream. And even though I didn't hear it earlier, I do hear chains rattling during this part when they get closer to the door.
What's that noise?
There's nothing left to do but wait it out in the Hinsdale house. After a night of fitful sleep, they decide to explore the hillside before getting out of there fast. They're still afraid from yesterday's events, but it's their job as paranormal investigators to keep going no matter what. So with their spirit box out, they wander into the woods. Within minutes, they record a voice. I hear 3 words: I need help. Then they hear a familiar voice, the same one responsible for grabbing John's arm in the attic.
We're coming into the darker part of the woods here. Would somebody like to speak with us? Oh. Yep, that was definitely a male voice.
And this part is either Amanda's voice edited in, or else somebody is humming a creepy tune right next to John. The forest is dark and cold. I agree with John that this is a different language.
We're in the middle of the woods. There's no electrical.
They come to a part of the woods that's particularly eerie for no reason at all. It's just a feeling they both have. That's when they realize the reason for their fears could not be directly underfoot.
Did you die here?
The thought of communicating with the other side has always made me uneasy, but speaking with someone while standing on their unmarked grave, as elevated vlogs seem to have done, takes that uneasiness to a whole other level. This live recording was shot somewhere in the country of Turkey. The news report itself starts out normally enough until a bystander notices an object in the distance and points it out to the rest. A group soon gathers around to gawk at what appears to be a large amount of UFOs in the sky. The fact that the video ends before anything else happens makes me think that it could be fake, or maybe an electronic disturbance jammed the cameras. If anyone in Turkey knows more about this video, please let me know. In the depths below, no one can hear you scream, but that's not the case when Redditor JTS4 went splunking in these Georgia caves. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor writes that their GoPro recorded screaming in the darkness that they never heard in person. Moreover, he says that the caves were very quiet, so quiet you can hear a pin drop. As other Redditors note, the distant scream heard literally sounds like one from a horror movie. It's clear in the clip that the Redditor didn't hear it, as he continues to navigate through the cave, talking nonchalantly to his audience. While most agree that this is super freaky, others suggest it might not be paranormal at all. Redditor Brule's Rules for Your Health writes, reminds me of a feral hog sound. They used to go in caves near my grandma's house and get trapped inside. Other suggestions include a mountain lion or a fox, while some think it could be a woman. The Redditor says the cave is popular, so who knows, but it still doesn't explain why they didn't hear it in person at the time. He also says they were very deep in the cave along an 8-mile stretch that hasn't been fully explored. Could this be the reason why? Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Polaris9114, this Redditor wrote, my dad and I saw this happening not far from our house. We saw frequent lightning strikes in the clouds, yet there is no sound from the lightning whatsoever. and I have never seen anything like this in my life. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Do you guys happen to know what this could be? Cause we sure as heck don't. Is Darth Sidious mad or something? We need answers, and preferably before our house gets struck with lightning.
In the comments, Shabby Kitten Rebel wrote, could be heat lightning, while Muram Wins wrote, how'd it happen last night here? The sky all around looked like that for a couple hours, and suddenly a huge hailstorm hit that was super loud through the house, and the street was a little flooded, so it appears that regardless of the lack of storm noise, commenters seem to be in agreement that it's still storm related. Do you think that's the case? Let me know in the comments. A while back, a YouTuber named Hey Charmaine somehow came across a creepy doll head that she found fascinating in a way that was hard to explain. She gets a really weird feeling from it and knows this is more than an ordinary piece of plastic. So she puts it by her bed with the camera on at night to see what happens. One night, the creepy doll head moves all by itself, or so she says. It's pretty weird, but notice how the video has been sped up, a sign of stop motion photography. If this video was shown at regular speed, I would be more likely to believe it, but the movements look very abrupt, like somebody kept repositioning the doll a little at a time and sped up the video to create the illusion of movement. This ghostly figure is The Thief of Souls, published by Land on TV in November of 2021. This man encountered an obscure figure lurking on an empty road at night. After wandering through a quiet village in the late hours, the man spies the silent figure in the darkness. He walks in another direction but soon sees the figure again. As he yells at the shadowy figure, it moves away into the darkness. Later, it seems he spies the figure up in the trees, either having climbed it or perhaps even hovering in the air. What does this thing want? I'm guessing his soul. You might want to bring a shield and armor when this uninvited guest shows up to your family reunion. Published to YouTube by Ghosted UK in November of 2019. A group of people appears to be watching something going on off screen when all of a sudden a poltergeist pops up beside them. Something up on a shelf is sent crashing to the ground. Startled, the group all turns to look and most start laughing.
Your knees, Andrew, for some reason.
It's unclear what the disturbance was and what object was flung, but it seems to have been thrown with some aggression. Would you be laughing if this happened to you? This video is believed to have happened sometime in 2001. A person is walking around what looks like to be an old basement when they think they notice something on the floor.
What the hell's that? That on the floor. Right there.
The footage is too grainy to see, but I think he may have been looking at a shoe, or even the top of someone's head coming out from just behind the door. Suddenly, he looks up and sees some sort of white apparition glaring back at him with lifeless glowing eyes. I guess that it could just be someone who is dressed up, but there's something about his reaction that seems genuine. This video was reportedly taken by a Navy patrol boat off the coast of Chile in South America. What appears to be a gigantic, slow-moving UFO is soon confirmed by both the Navy and a nearby air traffic control tower to not be one of their own. I was thinking maybe this was an ordinary blimp or a helicopter, until it emits some kind of inky mystery substance at the 8-minute 18-second mark. The camera cuts away for a bit and then approximately 5 seconds later you can see the substance has solidified into a thick, clumpy mass. As if that isn't weird enough, the UFO then detaches itself from the mass, which hangs completely suspended in midair, and keeps on going until it's no longer in sight. I have certainly never seen an aircraft do that before, and it doesn't look normal at all. If this is not edited, then I have little doubt that this visitor is from another planet entirely. A family in the Bahamas recorded the horrors they endured. posted to Twitter by Gilbert NMO Morris. He writes, "It has been 14 hours now with Dorian in Freeport, Bahamas, and this is the roof of a home there." Take notice of the wind and rush of the waves. This family was already on the top floor of the house. Can you imagine holding steadfast in the roof of your home moments away from being swallowed by the sea? The event is reportedly one of the worst on record to hit the islands. The Bahamas will take years to recover from this. Around 300 homes were completely destroyed. No doubt the home shown in this video was one of them. Adam Grayson is making a YouTube video at the hospital after a reaction causes his entire hand to swell. His wedding ring presses into flesh of his finger hard enough to cut off the circulation. Now a surgeon has to cut through the thin band of metal with only a trained eye and a tiny circular saw. One slip will make the situation 10 times worse.
Ah, that's hot.
The friction from the saw creates such an intense heat that nurses must repeatedly squirt water on the ring to cool it off. They really do have to delicately cleave through every last millimeter of the ring to get it off. Here you can just see how close they have to get to Adam's finger before they are able to pry it off. Adam's finger is red and tender. When they are finally finished with the procedure, there is no doubt that in my mind that he would have eventually lost an index finger had he not gotten to the hospital in time. This TikTok video taken somewhere in India shows a mystery hidden within a window on the first floor. Are the curtains partially pulled back, or is a figure looking out of a window late at night for no reason at all? A high-powered flashlight is directly on them, yet there is no detail except for its odd outline. A YouTuber named Sean Daywood is playing outside with his younger friend Ryan when a stranger comes out of the woods, and instead of ordering them off of her property, she demands they come closer to her. Here, she holds onto Ryan's arm and pulls him in when he tries to resist her grip. A much larger man comes out of the woods and backs up his wife. Then the woman turns around and simply says, "Come on," as if she expects Sean to follow. When he says no, she makes it clear that she will take him by force.
What do you mean no? You want me to fight you?
Sean tries to assert his right to leave, and she tells him that he is basically being held against his will.
We're leaving right now. Come on, Ryan. He's not leaving.
When she gets within grabbing distance, Sean feels completely overwhelmed, and he and Ryan run. Who even knows what these adults were up to, or if they were even the property owners in the first place? For all we know, they could have been random strangers looking to do who knows what in the middle of the woods. A Reddit user named Addison W has posted one of the creepiest things ever caught on doorbell cam to the Chills Narrator subreddit. A large, scary man bikes up to their front door and has this to say.
"I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you, and oh God, I can't stop."
The creepy man has his face covered and a light on his head that could be used to better see into people's windows. I don't know which is creepier, the fact that he has apparently been looking into the windows of random people's homes, or the fact that he calmly confesses it to them later into their doorbell cameras. At any rate, I really hope this person is just a random stranger with a dark sense of humor and not somebody who has developed an obsession. Unfortunately, I think the chances are very high that this is somebody who is extremely messed up and cannot help themselves. Hopefully the police find him before any of his compulsions grow even worse.
"I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you, and oh God, I can't stop."
A man enters a restaurant in Split, Croatia, and helps himself not only to a chair, but to a customer's belongings as well. First, he enters loudly enough to make two women turn around and take notice. He was probably on a fake phone call and tried to play it cool, but fails miserably. He pretends to hang his jacket up on the chair and stretches out to try and swipe this black backpack. It doesn't work, and so, undeterred, he tries again. This time as one of the family members gets up, and he's about as close as he can be to getting caught here at 41 seconds. And so he knocks it to the floor while the older man is busy swapping out a more comfortable chair, covers it with his jacket, picks it up, and dips. They must have thought the odd fellow simply changed his mind about eating here. Only later did they realize he had gotten away with one of their travel documents. Obviously, this man has practiced this technique many times before and probably targeted them because they looked like a tourist family. He has yet to be caught in the past 4 years and most likely never will. So the next time you're at a restaurant, watch out for any odd characters sitting at a table near you. A YouTuber named Adrian Bustamante documents yet another night of paranormal activity in his apartment to prove once and for all it's haunted. There are a few different paranormal videos on his channel, but March 9th of 2017 is when the best paranormal evidence yet is caught on camera. He doesn't have ghost hunting equipment, but he is still able to pin down the supernatural activity to one corner of the room. It isn't long before he gets all of the paranormal proof he needs. It looks like the object's moving by itself, but at 1 minute and 45 seconds, I'm almost positive there's a string tied around the bottom of the glass vase. My overall analysis is that Adrian's probably moving the object himself, but your opinion can help me decide if this paranormal evidence is fake or real. An unknown creature's been caught on camera in the sky of all places.
What is this? What the is this thing in the air?
A stunned woman begins to question her life and her sanity upon recording a creature with tentacle-like appendages flapping about in mid-air. She's parked on the far end of a not-so-busy lot, so that explains the general lack of other witnesses. I'm pretty sure this creature sighting's not real, because this is the only video I could find of it. It would be hard to miss a giant creature wiggling in the skyline like this, so you would think there would be more. My best guess is they've superimposed video of a jellyfish or some other deep sea creature over the sky to create this monster, but I'm not a special effects expert, so who knows? Don't you hate it when you're alone in your haunted house and the ghost girl comes out to play? Published in March of 2018, YouTuber Gencor shares this video of what he claims is the Ortega ghost girl. The man taking the video greets viewers, showing them around his living room. He then gives us a tour of his home. At one point, a stand-up fan in one of the rooms falls over, apparently of its own accord. You'll find out later that this is the haunted room. He leaves, lights an incense stick, and after a while returns to the scene of the incident. A toy moves out from under the bed as the man speaks to the spirit, saying they told him she wanted to talk to him and that he's going to close the door. You hear a sing-song voice, that of a little girl.
Dios santo. Dios, dijo hola.
When he shuts the door again, a loud banging is repeatedly heard.
Tengo miedo, la verdad, tratando lo suficiente.
He opens it to find a basket in front of the door, not where it was last seen. Needless to say, he hightails it out of there. If you have no idea what's going on here, Aries Bautista has you covered in the comments. She writes, the girl played 3 times hard. He should not have opened. It is assumed that by touching 3 times, he opened a portal that the demons used to enter. Well then I guess he should have kept that portal closed. This one is out of sight. Published by Grid Synergy in November of 2017. This scary security footage was filmed in a computer lab at night. A man is working across 2 computers when an alarm sounds, jarring him to turn around. Clearly confused about what this alarm is for, the man gets up to look. After the alarm doesn't repeat, the man sits back down at his desk, satisfied that it must be nothing, but then a loud bang is heard. And after a moment off screen, a lot more racket is heard, followed by the man clearly fleeing in fear. He couldn't get out of there fast enough. What drove him to flee? With the man now gone, a strange creak is heard, followed by another loud bang. If only we could see what was happening off screen. Be careful what you wish for. This video allows a 360 view of what's going on. Head back to when the bang is heard. A light turns on in a room next to a foosball table. When the man heads off screen, he is heading over to check out this room. He looks in but sees nothing, though he picks something up off the floor. Perhaps this is what caused the noise. When he heads out again, he switches off the light. That's when the racket happens. The door slams and a chair shoots back from a desk in front of him. The man flees the scene, the light turns on in the room again, and this figure's reflection is seen in the window. As I said, be careful what you wish for, because now you can't unsee it. A YouTuber named Seeking Legends has over 7 years worth of videos where he tracks down spirits and cryptids throughout the Las Vegas area and surrounding states. His subscribers know he doesn't play up his videos at all and isn't afraid to say when he thinks a location has nothing abnormal to offer. This wasn't the case when he went to a haunted forest on February 16, 2018 in search of the infamous White Witch, the spirit of a woman who once hiked this area a lot with her family and who was taken captive by unsavory locals. She escaped, but her family did not, and ever since then she has been roaming the woods looking for revenge. She cursed the land before taking her life in the very spot Cryptid Hunter stands now. He uses a paranormal dowsing rod, which is said to be able to tap into supernatural energy to better communicate with any nearby spirits. It isn't long before he finds one to speak with.
Can you point the rod to me? You see that I'm not moving this.
And I do mean speak with. There are no approaching footsteps, so it's not someone hiking, just eerie voices carrying over the water, just like the legends say, and the voices patiently wait until the command is complete before talking again.
Spin the rod in the opposite direction of me.
I don't think it's his nerves moving the rod, and his hand looks almost completely still to me, so maybe there's some truth to this piece of equipment after all.
If you were a victim of somebody in here, can you make my rod spin, please?
Here is an even better close-up of his hand at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. As the spirits continue to turn it around and around, none of his fingers are moving at all in the slightest. When asked for additional confirmation that the White Witch is here, two strange notes play. If you don't think this is paranormal, then tell me what you think would have made this noise in the middle of the forest. Soon he feels a presence guiding him and uses the rod to determine where to go next.
If this is where you want me to be, stop spinning the rod. Now. Where are you standing? Point the rod.
These instructions are further confirmed using his EMF meter, and at the end is a strange beeping noise coming from deeper in the woods that the EMF meter can't even make.
If this is where you wanted me to stand.
And just to prove it wasn't a coincidence, he easily gets it to respond again.
Can you do that again? Thank you.
There's no button on the meter for him to press to make it go up, supernatural or not. This was all the work of an external force of some kind. Every time he challenges the witch to move the meter, it does so without fail. Like here, for example, the timing is too much of a coincidence to be fake.
Unless you can make this device go on, then I'm not gonna believe that anything is here, haunting this area.
Apparently, it must have grown frustrated using the EMF meter over and over again, so it decides to answer his demands in a different way.
Make the lights go on. If you are the soul...
And before you say these are just lightning bugs, look again. They go from left to right one time, and then start over again in the exact same spot, so it's likely not an insect. It's getting dark soon, and the park closes, so Seeking Legends has to leave. Hopefully someday he returns to resume the conversation. But witch spirits aren't his only specialty. As mentioned before, Seeking Legends has experience hunting cryptids too. The desert cave is said to be plagued by skinwalkers, vicious tricksters of Native American legend who can assume a semi-human animal-like form. He isn't able to go down far because of breathing problems, but his worries start no sooner than the entrance when this glow stick, hung up as a marker to avoid getting lost, begins to sway in place all on its own. He's nowhere near where it begins to move, and maybe it's just me, but it looks like it's swinging even harder 3 minutes later, definitely not slowing down. Then outside of the cave, he hears what could be a Native American drum.
Listen, I hope the camera's catching that.
Hello?
And with one hand on the camera and the other visible, the angle shows it couldn't have been him making the noise.
Please tell me you guys heard that.
I will admit that the drums are a little hard to hear, but this last part isn't. Try to tell me what this voice is saying, because it sounds like it might be a different language to me, perhaps even backwards. I'm interested to see if you think this is a skinwalker or voiceover editing. It sounds like it's coming from behind the camera to me, but I'm not sure. I've analyzed some of Lainey and Ben's footage in previous videos, and I'm completely convinced that their home is 100% haunted. Here's yet another video to prove it. Published in November of 2021, the couple is attempting to use an EMF meter to talk to a spirit named Dave, who hangs around their home. Well, usually you'd expect for the meter to go off. That's apparently not the way Dave communicates. Instead, as the couple encourages Dave to communicate with them, setting the meter upright on the table in front of them, the meter is knocked over, causing them both to jump in shock. You might assume that it just fell over, but when you look closely, it certainly appears as though it was thrown down by a malevolent force. Something tells me Dave is the strong, silent type. A YouTuber named Alex Hayes and his friends find a cool looking stone perch overlooking the beach below. The good weather has them in high spirits, and it isn't long before they are playing around near the ledge. Alex wants to impress everyone with a headstand, but it doesn't exactly work out as planned.
Holy sh... Oh. Don't do that to me. Oh my goodness. Holy... Oh.
Pause here and you'll see how close Alex was to tumbling over. He barely catches himself with his right hand, and if his right leg went back any further, then he would have definitely lost his balance. Imagine waking up to this unwanted guest rummaging through your stuff. Published by Luke Nelson in October of 2020, this Nest camera captured an unexpected guest in this resident's home in Tahoe City, California at around 2 in the morning. The footage shows a small black bear breaking in through the kitchen window. It then crawls across the counter, sticking its snout into various dishes before easing down to have a gander. The bear pulls stuff off shelves, grabs a bottle in its jaws, and delivers it outside outside the window and then heads back to look for more treasure. The thief keeps grabbing items and placing them outside the window as if preparing for his getaway. He is seen wandering freely around the downstairs, even heading upstairs for a look-see, where he hung out outside the resident's locked bedroom door. He was there a total of 4 hours, finally leaving out the window the way he came around 6 a.m. What treasures did he make off with? I'm not sure, but I hope the residents put a lock on that window. YouTuber Lance Stewart has always had his critics when it comes to his paranormal videos, but in this video, Lance doesn't claim he got possessed, but rather someone else who is just participating. They are doing a Ouija board challenge and actually managed to capture some interesting paranormal moments, most notably at the 8-minute and 42-second mark when the camera picks up an unknown voice saying, "Turn it off."
Is it "I love you"? Yes!
Is the ghost implying that it does not want to be filmed? Maybe this is a warning they should have heeded, because later in the day, well after they are done with the Ouija board, Lance finds his ex-girlfriend Lizzie acting very strangely. She's lying on the bed with her eyes rolled back, not saying a word. Lance sounds extremely concerned when she says it's just a prank. Do you think she was telling the truth, or did whatever possessed her just want to give Lance a false sense of security? Either way, this video should serve as an example of how you need to exercise massive caution when using a Ouija board. Security cameras in this home didn't spy any intruders while this family was on vacation, at least not of the mortal kind. Published by Grasshopper 222 in July of 2011, the living room camera captured what looks like a cat toy moving across the floor. The only problem? There's no cat in sight. Moments later, a strange noise resounds in the room, and several objects fall to the floor. The bathroom's camera captured further paranormal activity. 2 toothbrushes fling from the counter, not falling but as if propelled by an unseen force. The faucet turns on full blast sometime later, while something flings into the sink. This is followed by the toilet flushing, and what sounds like the lid slamming shut. In the garage, although it's dark, you can hear noises. The YouTuber says it's a drill, and the doors on his father's car door. You can see the car's interior lights turn on when the doors open. In the kitchen, activity occurs over several days. Watch closely. Days later, this happens. While some in the comments are perplexed by this blatant activity, others are spotting things you may not have seen, like this shadow. Do you too think this house is in need of a priest? A YouTuber named The Inception of Yara Phoenix captures a scary moment on camera while exploring India. While doing some kind of construction work, a member of this crew holds a spike in place while another swings a heavy hammer a few feet from his head. The man is leaning away as far as he can, but with no helmet and no other kind of protection, not even a barrier to keep pedestrians from walking into him. It really does seem like a matter of time before something really scary happens. Take a listen for yourself.
And he's one miss and you're...
Those are some heavy blows that there would be no recovering from if a mistake were to happen. I can only imagine how scary it would be to be working in that position, putting your life in the hands of somebody else who you probably barely know, hearing the sound of the hammer coming so close over and over again. This scary moment caught on tape is no doubt 100% real, and this is exactly what makes it so terrifying. Cryptid Hunter and 2 of his friends are returning to a cave that they believe to be haunted. This time they are using a paranormal investigative technique that I have never seen before. They bring dolls with them into the cave that they believe are already haunted. They want to see how the spirits in the dolls react to the spirits in the cave. They also use long, thin rods that the spirits can use to respond to questions.
Can you please point the rod to the most haunted doll that's inside his mind? Alright, there it goes again.
Then the spirits in the cave apparently decide to skip the rods and make their presence known in a much more physical way.
What the is that?
The smooth cave walls probably have little traction, so the doll could have just fallen over on its own. Then again, maybe it was really pushed over by an unseen spirit. Clearly the doll somehow moved. So those are the only 2 explanations I have. Let me know which one you think it was. Is there a giant panda lurking nearby? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Flower Sliders writes, took a walk on an abandoned road in rural Japan, saw this, not sure what to make of it. Local friend said he'd never seen anything like it before. The video shows a thick stalk of bamboo shaking dramatically, amongst other bamboo stalks.
Okay, that's weird, right? Why is it moving?
Yeah. Can we go? Why is it doing
You guys not
that?
see that down there?
What?
Right
Shut
there.
up. I'm not gonna look.
There's nothing.
Okay, why is it still moving?
The rest of the stalks are still, so what is causing this one to shake? Some in the comments think it's the Kadama, spirits in Japanese folklore that inhabit trees. Others think it could be an animal feasting on its roots or burrowing beneath the stalk. Spirits or not, it sure looks creepy. And to think before watching this video, a walk in rural Japan seems so peaceful to me.
Can we go? I'm legitimately out running the video.
I don't understand. I'm gonna look this up.
Oh, maybe there's some. Wait. Still, no, it's not. It's cut there, so they shouldn't.
Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.